So our first guest today, I want you guys to do us a little favor before I introduce him. On the count of 3, I need you guys to say with me, "Hello, Newman," as loud as you can. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello, Newman. All right, come on, it's Wayne Knight. And you can take the mic off the stand if you want. It doesn't have to stay there if you don't want. Do we have Wayne's mic on? Hello. Yes, I guess it is. There we go. All right, so if you guys have never been to a panel at Spookalo before, we'll tell you how it kind of works. He and I are going to be hanging out up here, having a little conversation like we're old friends. I mean, we've known each other for quite a while, maybe 3-4 hours. So we've got
seems longer.
Seems longer, you know. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. But there is an open mic here in the front. We'd like to make sure you guys get a chance to get your questions answered as early and as often as possible, because we can talk about whatever we want to up here, and you guys can be like, that's not really the thing I wanted to know about. So the mic is there. We'll give you an opportunity to go up and stand in line and ask a question. We do ask you to make sure that you've got one question, and let's try to make sure that we always keep it positive and not try to stump the panelists with something that's going to be controversial, no politics, religion, things of that nature. Let's just have fun with this. Does that sound like a good idea?
As if that was on your mind.
You never know. You never know. That one right there, it might be on her mind. Right, Nicole? All right, so people know you from a couple of fun things you've done in the past. So let's talk about the one that most people are here to experience, and that is Nedry from Jurassic Park.
You know, actually, the first time I ever went to a convention was for Jurassic Park. It was when I was cast in it before the movie even came out. And I got my first piece of advice on conventions from John Delancey from Star Trek, who told me, never personalize. I don't know what he meant, but it's all right.
So you brought up, you were cast before the movie even was
I believe that Steven saw me in Basic Instinct, saw me sweating profusely, drooling.
Is there a reason why you were sweating profusely and drooling in Basic Instinct? Why don't we remind everybody what that scene was?
No, because I didn't get to see anything. There was a camera right here. It was not what you think. But I think he saw me in that and said, now imagine if that was a dinosaur instead of Sharon Stone, and there you go.
So with you being cast so early on in that movie, did you feel any kind of slight ownership? All right, I'm the OG, and anybody else that's coming through, I've got to be able to give my stamp of approval.
Are you kidding?
Hey, you know what? You never know what you feel.
Well, no, I had read the book, and I was a big fan of Michael Crichton, and so I knew who Nedry was. Luckily, Nedry died in a way that was gross and belittling, whereas in the book he was like, his head was crunched and he was disemboweled. So I think I like my way better. I don't know.
All right, so again, we do have the mic up here. If you guys have any questions, don't be shy. Feel free to get up here and line up, because we want to make sure we get you the information that you want.
Someone is coming to the mic.
Oh, and you know what? This is one of my favorite people that's going to come to the mic. So, all right, we're going to go to you right now. Tell us what your name is.
My name is Amanda, and before I ask the question, I have to do this as a big Third Rock Sun fan. Hello, Don.
Tom?
Don!
Oh, Don! Hello, Sally.
Thank you, that made my day. So, of all the projects that you've done, whether it's sitcoms, movies, or anything, what in your mind sticks out as something that you just can't believe that you've gotten a chance to be a part of?
Well, I mean, there's so many things that I was lucky enough. You know, I mean, it's like, the way I talk about it is, I've spent a lot of time on the Queen Mary, and people have been waving at me as if I had something to do with it. You know, I'm just riding some very nice ships. But Third Rock actually was one of the most pleasant experiences I ever had. Everybody was incredibly nice. John Lithgow was a great guy who I still maintain a friendship with, and who sends me Christmas cards that he hand draws and stuff. That was a serendipitous kind of thing. I was doing Seinfeld at the time.
Yeah.
Terry Turner, who is the producer of, executive producer with his wife of Third Rock, ran into me. We had gone to the University of Georgia together like 30 years earlier. He said, "We've been looking for you. We'd like to do a show with you, but we can't now. So would you come on to Third Rock for a couple of years while we work it out?" I'm like, yes. And the show didn't work out, but Third Rock did.
No, it's great. Well, thank you for being part of so many of our childhoods and being part of pop culture. You're
Thank you.
amazing.
Appreciate it.
All right, next up, what's your name, my man? And what is the question you got?
Hey, I'm Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
As a huge fan of Seinfeld, introduced me to Seinfeld, and I've watched it.
You do have a microphone, don't you?
Yeah, you can tilt that microphone up for us. Yeah, there we go.
Tyler, I'm just calling here. But my question for you is, working with Larry David on Seinfeld, anything fun you can tell us? Or
Not one thing.
maybe professional?
Not a thing. He scared the crap out of me. I don't know. He was so relaxed, yet had so much power. He was like, no, he was great. And the thing about Larry is that Larry was meticulous, specific, knew exactly what he wanted. And that's actually a relief, you know? And I think we all wanted to make him laugh because that was the key. So the things about Larry are, after the show was over, I ran into Larry, and Larry's like, "Come on in the office, say hello, sit down." I'm like, no. I'm still intimidated by him. But I don't think I would be now. I think he's very relaxed now.
Hey, thanks a lot. All right, Mr. Man in the fedora. How you doing, man? I dig the headgear. I'm down with it.
Thank you. It made me feel like a secret agent.
All right, so what's your name? What's your question?
James Gates. Today, gosh. With Jurassic Park, I mean, this movie put out books and stuff on the story behind making things. What's a memory that always stuck with you in me?
Well, the first time, my first day on the set, we're in Kauai, and they're going to take me up this cane road to Blue Hole, the top of Kauai on a mountain that is supposedly the rainiest spot in the world. It rains like 360 days a year there. And they had rain machines and trucks in case it didn't. And we drove through this mud road, through cane fields, up to this mountain, and I get up there. It's not really a mountain, it's probably a hill, but the gates of Jurassic Park are there, and I see them for the first time, and that's where I meet Steven Spielberg. They drive me up in this, bus, and I get out and slogging through mud. He's looking at the gates with a loop. He turns to me, and I say, "I've not met him." I said, "I hope I'm the one you were looking for." And he says, "You're the one." That was the beginnings of Jurassic Park.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
All right, next up, do me a favor when you come up here. You can put the mic up just a little bit. There you go. Thank you, Amanda. After you went and messed up the mic for us, now you fixed it. Good job.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes. What's your name, my man? What you got?
I'm Mason, and I just wanted to ask a question. I didn't want to ask a political question, but I guess it's a little bit political. But is Jurassic Park a horror movie?
How is that political?
There's a lot of discourse.
I'll tell you what, it was a horror movie for me. I don't know if it was a horror movie for everybody else.
I personally think it
But, I mean, just shooting that thing was a horror movie for me. I think it is. And that's why when I'm signing and people say, I love you since I first saw Jurassic when I was 3. I want to have their parents arrested It's like, what are you kidding me? I thought dinosaurs were cool, you know? I don't want them killing people, but I think that that's okay because kids really want to see something that could eat their parents. So it's all right.
Well, thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
So Mason, I wonder if he was like, was the dinosaur libertarian? That would have been political. That would have been a political comment. Otherwise, we're good. We're good. All right, how you doing, my man? What's your name?
My name's Charlie. Honor meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Do you think the Barbasol can is cursed in the movie? Because
Do I think the Barbasol can is what?
cursed.
Cursed. Well, I think the Barbasol can is a red herring. I think the Barbasol can set up a sequel that you didn't need the Barbasol can for. That they could figure out how to do the sequel without the embryos.
Fair enough. But yeah, honor meeting you. When I was in elementary school, they would like show it like 6th and 7th and 8th grade. It's like, here, dinosaurs. You guys enjoy it?
No. But then again, I don't even know. I didn't even know the Dilophosaurus was a small dinosaur with throat fans and spat, you know. I was expecting a bigger dinosaur. So it's an even worse death.
Bro. Like, you're expecting to be eaten by like this giant Tyrannosaurus, but then you just get eaten by these small little dinosaurs.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be like a mouse with a cough or something like that, you know.
Sure. Well, thank you.
All right, so real quick before we go to the next question. So, our AD interpreter over here, Sarah, had a challenge. Before the panel started, she's like, I want Wayne Knight to rattle off as many dinosaurs as he can, as quick as he can, because she wants to sign them as quick as she can.
Oh, geez, don't worry. I don't have hardly any. I mean, all my dinosaurs are old Brontosaurus and stuff like that. I don't have the new names of all the dinosaurs, so I can't rattle through them. My paleontology period ended about 30 years ago. I know him then. I'll just give you Dilophosaurus 5 times. Dilophosaurus, 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 Dilophosaurus.
I think her wrist doctor just thanked you for only naming one. All right, next up at the mic. What's your name and what you got for us, my man?
Hello, Wayne. I'm Jurassic Vic. I built quite a few Jurassic Park Jeep replicas, and I feel like Jurassic Park really put Jeep on the map, right? I mean, you think Jurassic Park, you think Jeeps, and vice versa. My question is, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned about your relationship with your time with that Jurassic Park Jeep and an iconic scene.
Yes,
Could
I
you elaborate
still
more
have
on it?
leg wounds from that because I couldn't drive. I mean, driving a stick to then bounce the door of the park, you know, to bounce the gate and get in, that was miserable for me. We wound up having to do a cowboy switch, which is a stuntman drives the car fast up to the spot. I jump in the car, they shoot me, I jump out, the other guy jumps in. He then hits the door open and he goes. It was like what they used to do in old westerns when they would take the star off the horse and throw another guy on to ride it off. That was what it was like. But because getting in and out of the Jeep was all soaking wet and whatever, I used to bang my leg in the Jeep over and over again until it was a big wound. And I was this big fat guy, and I didn't want to go to the doctor because I figured he'd tell me I was going to die. So I just put Band-Aids on it, whatever, you know. So that's my memory of that Jeep. I didn't immediately go out and buy a Jeep, but I could now.
I think you would look great in the Jeep, by the way. I love everything you've ever done. I love you so much.
Thank you so much.
Basically, Nedry is the anti-spokesperson for Jeeps. All right, coming up to the mic. What's your name? What you got for Mr. Wayne Knight?
My name is Steve, and I was wondering, what's like your favorite role that you've had, like out of all of them?
What's your favorite role that you've had out of all the roles? What's your favorite role and why?
Well, but see, the problem is my favorite role was on Broadway. It wasn't really in the movies. And as far as the movies go, I enjoyed playing parts that weren't over the top. I enjoyed playing people that were just kind of people. And I did a role in this movie To Die For that was directed by Gus Van Sant and had Nicole Kidman and I played opposite Nicole Kidman. I enjoyed that. I had a period of time where I was just opposite beautiful stars. It was Sharon Stone and Nicole Kidman. I thought, this is nice. It's a nice life. And nobody saw it, but it was fun to do. And I met Buck Henry, who wrote it, and then I later appeared on Broadway with him in this play Art, which became my favorite role, working with George Segal and Buck Henry. So that doesn't really play for conventions. I don't know what to tell you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, another man in a nice piece of headwear. What's your name? What you got?
My name's John. I just had a question. Were you allowed to see your bringer of death before the scene, or did they keep the dino secret from you?
No. You know, the thing is that when we were shooting the control room was the second story so that they can have a cyclorama with the outside and so on. And it was a garage for raptors. That there were like 5 raptors there just laying there, the puppets, you know, because this was Stan Winston in the days when it wasn't all CGI. Half of it was animatronic and the other half was CGI. So all these raptors were manipulatable raptors. And the Dilophosaurus I got to see because the Dilophosaurus was the Dilophosaurus with the throat fan, the Dilophosaurus who spit, the Dilophosaurus who moved. Each one was separate. And but the cool thing is that when acting with it, because it was there, you actually had something to act with. So it was fun.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Next up, how you doing, my man? What's your name? What kind of shoe you have for Mr. Wayne Knight?
Yes, hi, I'm Magic Mike from Hollywood Tours with a Z, YouTube plug.
There you go.
What I wanted to know is what was the stuff that the Dilophosaurus spit in your face? What was it for real?
Well, there's a guy who lives across the street from me now. His name is Rick Gallens. He worked with Stan Winston's crew. He had an air rifle filled with dyed black KY jelly. They had 3 different things. There was an oil, petroleum distillate that they shot me with when I was climbing up the hill. Then when I turned, they shot me with Methicil, which is alien goop, which stretches off the body. And then when I turned to camera for my death, he had an air rifle pointing between my eyes. And he told me, if you blink, we'll do it again. So I had to turn to camera, and there's a guy with a rifle at me, and he shoots me. And I got it in 2 takes.
Oh, not
The first take didn't work. And that's because Spielberg said to me, you know, that was an R scream. We need a PG scream. Freaking out. So that's the story.
Thank you, Mr. Knight.
All right, next up, how you doing? What's your name and what kind of question you got?
My name's Heather. My question to Wayne is, how do you feel about knowing that the real Dilophosaurus is about 10 times bigger than the one that you faced in the movie?
See, that's the thing that gets me. You know, it's like, you gotta diminish me even more. Why not just make a thumb-sized dinosaur that kills me, okay? But I didn't want to be disemboweled, so okay.
It's better than the compies.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
thanks.
All right, so next up, my name is Charlie, and I have a question. Oh, wait, that's your line.
Yes.
So what's your name?
Charlie.
See, I told you. And what is your question?
With you being some of the biggest franchises, what was your favorite?
Of the big franchises,
Like Jurassic Park, Toy Story, or Seinfeld?
I like things where they bring me back, so I'm not that fond of any of them.
What would you say yours your favorite?
Seinfeld, they kept bringing me back. I like that.
All right, how you doing, man? What's your name?
My name is Rory.
Roy, what's your question?
My question is, well, first of all, you're in two of my favorite movies of all time. One is Jurassic Park, which I got to talk to you earlier about, which was awesome. And another is Toy Story 2. And I don't know if you're aware of this. I was not aware of this until I watched director's commentary, but there's actually a plot hole at the end where your character has flown to Japan, but the next morning is already shot a commercial where he's crying.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Your character has flown to Japan at the end of the movie, and then the next morning, when the toys are back in Andy's room, he's already shot a commercial at his store where he's crying. And Pete Docter said on the commentary, just ignore the plot hole that he somehow got back from Japan and shot a commercial. So did they talk to you about that, or were you aware of that, or was it just like?
No, especially in voiceover, you know very little about what's going on. In fact, when I did Toy Story 2, I was in New York doing a show, and I would come to a recording studio, and we would have a screen where I'm talking to John Lasseter on one screen and doing the voice and beat, you know. So no, I didn't realize. No.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like that might have been information he just gave you right now. All right, how you doing? What's your name?
My name is Aftab Sebastian Imam.
All right, what's your question for Mr. Wayne Knight?
No, there's no time for the question now.
Yep.
The name was too long. No, go ahead.
What has to be like has there ever been a Halloween special episode of Seinfeld? Do you remember doing that?
Not only do I not remember it, but the thought that they would do one is like totally shocking. I mean, they would never do a special episode for anything, you know. I mean, but there are some scary. I think that we should probably have done a Halloween episode with animated Pez dispensers.
Oh,
Killer Pez. There you go.
I mean, it would have been, if you think about like how much adventures they have, like you really do. Like it's almost like that one scare that you get, like, oh, you think it's a demon drooler, but no. It's like the shadow of that, like those cartoony episodes, like running around, like, you know, something Scooby-Doo like.
Well, you know, Newman is basically the horror character in the show. The door opens and there he is.
Oh yeah.
Pretty scary.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, next up, what's your name? What's your question? Yeah, feel free to bend that thing down.
I'm Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
I saw that you're from Cartersville, right? I'm from there too, and I just thought,
From Cartersville?
yeah,
Well, how the hell are things in Bartow County?
they're growing a lot.
Yeah, I know. It's now kind of a bedroom community of Atlanta.
Yeah.
But yes, I grew up in Cartersville. I went to Cartersville High School, and my mother lived there the rest of her life, and so I still have a warm place in my heart for Cartersville.
Have you been back?
Yeah, I brought my son is now 13. He was about 3 or something when I brought him there, and he didn't really know what was going on. I plan to go back. I plan to, it's one of these weird things that now that there are other people who've come from Cartersville, it's not a big deal anymore. I'm not a big deal. I can just go back and slip in.
Well, you're my favorite person, Cartersville. So, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, how you doing, man? What's your name?
Hey, Mr. Knight, my name's Tyler. I just wanted to know if you had any really cool behind-the-scenes stories from working on Toy Story. That's one of my favorite franchises, and
You know, there is no behind the scenes.
your scenes, what you did. Cool things about working with Disney in general.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about doing voiceover is that you do the whole movie when you come in for a record. You're not just doing a scene and then they bring you back and do another scene and bring you back and do another scene. You do the script as it stands, and then they put the whole movie together, and then they look at it, and then they decide to re-record things and do other things and whatnot. So in essence, you're giving a full performance every time. So doing animated films is really taxing, and you get to use all your chops doing it. So I enjoy it. I really enjoy it.
Thank you, and one more quick one. Instead of your character, who is your favorite Toy Story character?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yes, the character Jesus. No.
I was gonna say, was he in the movie?
You didn't know it, but that was Woody. He saves everyone. Well, I think it, oh, geez, I don't know. I guess it's Woody.
Good choice, good choice.
Thank you, Mr. Knight.
I know I'm not supposed to like the good characters, but anyway.
All right, next up, you might really have to move that mic up because, yeah, we don't need to talk to your kneecap.
I can bend over, it's okay. So, so if no one's done that. Secondly, well, a statement, a question. First, the statement, I just wanted to thank you for where you go, Dotson, nobody cares. That's been like such a important part of my life to like be obnoxious and annoy people whenever they're trying to be discreet and I don't respect it.
I'm so glad that there's someone just annoying people in real life. You know, I mean, I do it professionally. You know, please.
You gotta leg up on me then. And then the second thing is that laugh that you did in when like the canister of Barbasol goes up. I don't know if you know that's become like a big thing, but I was curious like if that was intentional. Like, could you recreate that, or was that like?
Well, what happened was, you know, I laughed, and then Spielberg said, "Laugh some more." No more. Yeah. You know, you're really happy. You know, and it became this maniacal, crazed, you know, and they go, that's it. So it was part me and it was part Steven. So I can't take full credit for it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, so I've got a question. So this is from Steph. If you look back here at the Insymmetry Creations booth, she's the one that looks just like me.
Yes.
So yeah, you can't tell us apart. So she had a question. She said, if Nedry and Newman were in a battle to the death, by any rules that you wanted to have, who would win and why?
Newman.
And why would Newman be the one to win?
Because Newman is pure evil. And Nedry is an amateur.
Man, that's pretty good stuff right there. I did not expect that. I thought I was going to go the other way around because, like, Nedry might be able to harness the power of the dinosaurs, and Newman could only harness the power of Jerry.
Nedry, but I mean, Nedry's just fueled on sugar and Jolt Cola. You know, he's got that kind of like quick snap kind of muscles. He would go slack in a minute, whereas Newman could go for hours.
Oh, really? All right, so
we never got the chance, but yeah, well, whatever.
All right, so we got a few things more we're going to talk about. Again, if you have questions that come up that you want to ask, you see how it goes. We're going to get to your questions, your thoughts, as soon as we get a chance. So in this so far, we've already talked about the fact that you've done television, you've done movies, you've done some voiceover work. Can you explain to the audience, if they've never heard before, the difference in the way you have to prepare for a television filming role compared to a movie role, compared to going in and doing voiceover? Because the discipline, there's a lot of differences, but there could be a few things that are similar as well. Why don't you touch on that?
Well, usually you start, you know, there are different kinds of television too. Because you can do dramatic television, or you can do a sitcom, or you can do a television comedy that is shot on film and done single camera. And they're all different. You start with stage. I started with stage. I was a stage actor, and I went to New York. I didn't think I was even going to do film and television. Then I came to LA, and Seinfeld happened rather quickly. And the difference is that in sitcom, it's almost like stage. You're putting on a play in a week. You have to come up with what you're going to do for the table read. You have to decide what you're going to do, and when they first present the script to you, you do it. And if you're funny, they keep you. And if you're not, they can you when you're not a regular. For voiceover, there's a glass, they're in the booth, they're behind you, they're like, what? All right. And then you do whatever the hell you do and they correct it. You don't know. But that's a very different experience, and you sometimes get the chance to ad-lib or loosen up more in the voiceover realm than you do in the television realm, which is a writer's realm. The writer is king in television. The director is king in films, not the writer. So if you want to screw with the lines, the director doesn't mind. But in television, they do. And in voiceover, it doesn't matter what you do. We can just snip it out, and we'll just put in what we want. Any other specifics that you'd like to know? Because it's a hard thing to. I don't have a glib answer on it. I'm sorry. What was that?
So they want to know more about Broadway.
Oh, well, Broadway. It's like, well, Broadway, you have like weeks and weeks to rehearse, and you have to memorize the entire script, and you have to find your character, and you have to project it on a stage every night 8 times a week. And in the play I did that I liked the best, I had a breakneck pace 5-minute monologue, and I had a quick change right before the monologue. And while I was changing clothes, they're stripping clothes off me, I would run the entire monologue in my head for fear I'd lose it. And then I'd come on stage and do it. And it was still the best experience of my life, because it's like you're in front of a firing squad, you know, and you gotta, don't shoot me.
So kind of like this crowd right here? Is that good?
They seem benign. I don't know about you, but everybody else seems pretty benign.
All right, why don't you step on up here to the mic?
Hello.
What's your name?
It is a little daunting once you get up. So props to everyone who asked.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Hi, my name's Erin, and actually on track with the Broadway talk. You mentioned you started on stage, and then you wound up. You know, you were on there. You were on Broadway after a long duration doing television and film. So was there anything once you were on Broadway that you really cherished or found that you were valuing later in your career compared to when you were on stage before? Like anything stood out to you that you really loved?
Well, one of the things that's remarkable about being on television, that I was on Broadway, but then I went out to LA and got on Seinfeld, and suddenly people are offering me plays to come back to New York during the hiatus to do plays. And I had never done musicals because I was scared of it and didn't think I could do it. And then I got the bravery and went and did a couple of musicals and and that was the most exciting experience ever, because there are all these dancers and singers and troves of people tromping across the stage back and forth, and you have to learn your tracks and things I never knew anything about. I have a big appreciation for all aspects of this business, because it's challenging wherever you are, whether you're behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, in whatever form you do. It's cool. I mean, I like it much better than working.
All really magical. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, come on up to the mic. How you doing? What's your name?
My name is Valerie.
Valerie, what's your question for Mr. Knight?
I'm gonna bring it back to Toy Story because that's my favorite and my kids' favorite franchise. When Al gets Ian, what do you think his reaction is when none of his toys were on the plane?
Oh, jeez. You know, I seldom go into hypotheticals about animation, but I don't know. I mean, what amazes me is that they stitch together emotions, feelings, and make a performance out of it. Some of it is yours, and some of it is how it was arranged. My wife is an editor in animation, and she was able to make an entire performance out of minor grunts of one of the actors, which is Dustin Hoffman, was doing something in Kung Fu Panda, and she stitched those things together to make a response, and it looks perfect in the film. So what happens in voiceover is almost alchemy, and it is more the product of the directors and the animators, and you're just kind of a piece, just a voice, you know? So I don't get too proprietary about it. It's more collaborative than you realize.
All right, so I'm going to follow up with that real quick. So, as an actor, as a creator, did you find being on Broadway would you prefer being on Broadway where you're like, my performance is what people are going to see. I control 100% of my performance, or do you like better I'm just going to go in and put some stuff down, and then some mastermind or mad scientist is going to go cobble it together? Which one do you prefer more, being able to see the performance as 100% you, or what somebody else's arrangement of that is?
Well, recently I got offered a film to do, and it was comedic but also serious and also had nuances. And for that you need a director, and you need to know who the director is, and you need to trust them. And I didn't, so I couldn't do it. And it's only from having experience that you realize what the director means to you in film. And on stage, the director just arranges what you do and then lets you go. But the stage manager makes sure that your performance is maintained. But I did a show for 3 years, 8 shows a week, and that performance changed over time, you know? But I still feel like that's the most exciting thing, that you're out there and you've got to do it. You don't have a choice.
No retakes on the stage.
Yeah.
All right, next up at the mic, what's your name, what you got?
Hi, my name is Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
One of my favorite movies is Rat Race.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun memories of working on that movie with Rowan Atkinson or anything?
It was weird. I had to win over Rowan. Rowan wasn't so sure who I was, what I was, or why he'd want to work with me. And then over time, he found that I was funny and he was okay. And we were all over Canada, and I was in a period of that time trying to rein back some of my excesses as an actor, and that was not what was wanted. They were like, no, let yourself go. Let it go. Like, okay.
All right, next up, what's your name, what you got?
Hello, my name is Chris.
Chris.
So you've been in many, many iconic movies, and I've got to know, what was it like working on Space Jam? Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, come on.
Space Jam was one of the strangest experiences of my life. Imagine a soundstage of this size. All the walls are green with little red tennis balls on them. There are no actors, there are no props, there's no scenery. They're just people wearing green ninja suits on their knees. And these are groundlings, improvisational comic actors who are playing the cartoon characters so that you have the right height to refer to. The only other actor from miles around is a basketball player. So it was a very interesting movie. And then you get to hear, Michael talking with Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing and hearing their talk amongst each other, and being a fly on the wall. So it was a fascinating and bizarre experience.
That's awesome. Thank you. It was a great movie in my childhood. So thank you.
Did you ever decide to go and show Michael Jordan, hey, let's go play one-on-one. I'm going to make one basket on you.
No, I made a point of never touching a basketball anywhere near anyone.
That might have been a smart move.
It was, but no, I was trying to be the good guy, So I didn't get anything signed. I wouldn't have to be here if I had gotten those things signed.
All right, how you doing? What's your name?
Hi, my name is Nikki.
Nikki, what's your question?
I was just wondering, that episode of Seinfeld where you and Kramer were leaving the baseball game and you were talking trash to the player and you said nice game for you, boy, something like that. And then you started talking about the spitter and all that. Did they put that in the show because you were in JFK?
Yep. There was a writer on Seinfeld named Tom Leopold who was a JFK conspiracy guy, very big into the assassination theories. And when he saw me in JFK playing a character named Numa, it was too much for him. So they found a way of incorporating, the reenactment of the shot, which was in the movie JFK, in Seinfeld. So, yes.
That's so cool. I remember that. I was probably 12 years old when that movie came out. I'm from Dallas, actually, so I remember watching it.
Yeah, and what you need to do is watch the episode while standing in Dealey Plaza.
All right, so I got a question for you. So, if you could pick one actor that you've worked with on any show, and you could be like, I'm gonna pick that person, but I also get to pick the project that we work in. It could be a buddy cop movie, it could be anything like that. Who would you pick? What would that project be? If you could fantasy book it right here on the stage at Spook Hour.
Geez, I don't know. I'll tell you who I would want to work with, though. Who's a friend of mine and I've known for years is Emma Thompson.
Okay, okay.
I did a film, Dead Again, with her. We started out doing sketch comedy in England. I did this show called Assaulted Nuts with Emma, and then I did that film. And just one of the smartest, best people I could work with, who can do comedy, who can do tragedy, who can do anything. And I would let her pick the project.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, come on up here, my man.
Hello, Newman.
Hello, stranger.
Hey, I'm Greg. What I want to know is, what did you think about the final episode of Seinfeld? Were you satisfied with the ending?
Nobody was satisfied with the ending.
Amen.
Because why? We didn't want it to end, A. And B, you're trying to do a tribute to so many people, it's almost impossible to do. The only way that I think you could do a proper ending is if you're in the middle of an episode and you see the film start burning. And that's just it. You don't get to see the rest. Goodbye, everybody. There's no good way to end the show. And I didn't get to go to Paris, so it pissed me off.
Yeah. You're tremendous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, man. All right, coming up here to the mic.
Hi, how are you?
All right, what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda, what is your question?
So not to dwell on the past, but if you could go back in time and take any role that you turned down, which one would you take and why?
Take a good long look at me. What roles do you think I turned down?
The lead in any romantic comedy. Come on.
Well, there was this one. Well, I recently turned down something because I would have to be unclothed. And I thought,
$20 is $20.
no, I'm telling you what. And you want to see something that would show up at Spook Hour? That would be the one. In terms of roles that I mean, there were things that I wasn't sure about that other people did, but I felt like they were better at doing them. No, I don't have that. I mean, that's a Tom Hanks question, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this stack of scripts, which one do I throw away? No.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Charlie, coming up here again, man. You got another question? You can ask it. What you got?
My question was, how was it filming Rat Race with all these like amazing people and Smash?
Well, it was very, because it was all over the place. It was very disjointed. We were shooting in, you're in Vegas, you're in Alberta, you're doing all these different things, and it's all like everybody has so many individualized parts that are then all put together. So you don't have a real sense of the whole thing, but you do have a sense that it's madcap and manic. And I was a big fan of movies of that kind, like God, I can't think of the granddaddy of all those films. Never mind. But
that film, you guys know what he's talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Nobody does. Okay. No, it wasn't Mad World. I don't know if anybody's old enough to have ever seen that picture. But that's kind of the progenitor of Rat Race, where you create a task and everybody goes out on the task and then you follow them through it, make a big fun comedy movie. And so to be part of that was really cool for me. It was like part of my past.
Thank you.
All right, so I got one for you. And then we'll go, but then, no, Amanda, come on to the mic, because if you ask them what I'm about to ask right now, if it's the same question, I'm going to be stunned.
I can't believe you showed up to the party wearing the same thing I did.
That's exactly right. So, weight loss journey.
Yeah.
Well known for the fact that at one point you probably lost 1/3 of your body weight, like triple digits.
Well, As I am now, I'm about 100 pounds less than I was at Jurassic Park.
So still, 100 pounds. Let's give him a round of applause for that, because that doesn't happen by accident.
Oh, it did for me.
It did for you?
Yeah, I woke up one morning and oh my God.
Just was laying there on the floor.
What a poo I've had.
Yeah, why don't you tell everybody what process you went through? Because you know what? Everybody wants to feel better about themselves and look better. What did you do to make that happen?
There's everything you could possibly think of. Every diet, every enterprise, 12-step and other things. So, I mean, it's been a lifelong thing. And what's weird is you would then become famous for being giantly fat. And so when you're not, it's hard for people to figure out what to do with you. Because, you're much less easy to ridicule. Sorry.
Look at this. It's the normal-sized human being.
Not necessarily, but normaler. It's okay. But it was a long ride, and in every various spot, you'd be amazed at how many places where I thought I looked good. And how many places where I thought I didn't. And you wouldn't be able to tell one way or the other, It's all, a lot of it is mental and your own kind of perverse feeling that you're not good enough. Once you kind of begin to let that go, you allow yourself to get healthy. But it's not easy.
So if you could give the audience out here one piece of advice about that you're like, okay, I needed to make the decision to get in better shape. What's the most important thing for you as you were on that journey?
Forget everything you've been told and learn to like yourself. The process of liking yourself will let you be kinder to yourself if you really do. It's a big test, because I thought I liked myself and then late at night I suddenly didn't like myself anymore. But there's no good way. There's only the way you do it. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I think the problem is that society makes you feel some way about your physicality. And it shouldn't. We should accept people, whatever they're like physically. I mean, we've been forced now that we can't make jokes about people's ethnicity or about their sexuality. We got to get to physicality too, but then we won't have any jokes. And I wouldn't have had jobs. Never mind. It's okay.
All right, so hopefully was that your question?
No.
I knew it wasn't your question. See, we had a mind meld.
That was hard to follow, though.
But I think you can follow it. If one person could follow it, it's Charlie. Second would be you.
Okay, all right. I'll take second.
All right.
So we all gathered here because we're all big fans of something. So what to you are you passionate about? What things are you a fan of that might surprise some of us to learn about you?
I'm a big Star Trek fan. I was a Trekkie before there were Trekkers, way back when. And I was working on Third Rock from the Sun with Shatner. And he was playing the big giant head on... Yeah. And I told him one day that Star Trek had literally saved my life. That I was... I stayed home to watch Star Trek, I think it was 11 or 12. My parents went out shopping, they let me stay home. They didn't come home. The police came to my door, they were in a head-on collision at 60 miles an hour. I would have been in the back seat without a seatbelt, and I probably would have been killed. They survived, and I told this story to William Shatner, that I'm staying home to watch Seinfeld save my life. And he said, man, that's nice, kid.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and live long and prosper.
Thank you.
All right, so I think there's a good follow-up question to that. So, from doing conventions at the convention scene, has there ever been a time for you, even though you're on the celeb side, you're like, oh man, that's cool. I'm at a show with that person. I gotta go get a picture with them. Anybody specifically come to mind?
I was at a con, and my son is a giant fan of the series Daredevil.
Okay.
And so Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio were both at this con, and I got them together and got a picture with them to send to my son. And it was the first time that I was in that position, getting a selfie so I could send it home to my son. And the other thing about cons that's fantastic is I had worked with James Tolkien, this guy who was in The Right Stuff and other things. He's a grand old actor, and you get to see people who you haven't seen in 30 years at a table across the way and go over and make their acquaintance again, and give them a hug and so on. There's a lot of nice things that happen in the convention scene. As far as who do I see that is like, I think that what happens is you wind up kind of turning off making people elevated or making people below you. Everybody's equal in the convention world.
Absolutely.
Anybody that comes to my table is equal.
100%. I absolutely appreciate that viewpoint. And that's something for you guys to remember out there too. When you walk up to one of these tables, hey, they're a human being just like you are. Treat them just like a human being. That's what Wayne Knight wants you to treat them like.
That's right. Wayne Knight wants you to treat human beings like human beings.
That's right.
Damn it.
Where's our photographer Corey at? Corey, if you are within the sound of my voice, I just want to make sure you come on up here real quick. So we're going to be wrapping this up here real quick, and when we get done, I'm going to take a selfie with Wayne, but then you all get to be in the picture as well, because the show photographer is going to stand up here. You guys can all crowd in real close, and we are all going to take a picture together. So
kill those lights.
Yeah. So before we do that, though, you talked about tables. What stuff do you have over at your table that you are most happy about having 8.5 by 11s, things that you want people to go over there and make sure that you sell out of before this show's over?
Well, first of all, nobody knows that I was in a Marvel movie, but it wasn't of the MCU. It was The Punisher. The Punisher 2. I played Micro in The Punisher. And it's probably the only Marvel movie nobody knows about. I like that picture. I'm holding guns. I look virile. It's good.
All right, well, good stuff. So does anybody have any more questions? We've got room for 1, 2 more questions. This might be the only time in the history of history
they're sick of me.
That you're going to ask
They're
a question.
Ready to go. Let them go. Let these people go.
All right, so if that's the case, we're gonna wrap this. Oh, there we go! There's one more question for you. All right, give this guy a round of applause. What's your name, my man?
Brandon.
All right, so everybody give a big round of applause for Brandon right now. Good job, Brandon! Not let's go, Brandon, but good job, Brandon!
I was over there earlier and you signed my Barbara Slocan. But I mentioned Thor Rock from the Sun was a very big deal when I was a kid. And you mentioned some work with John Lithgow.
Yes.
Some music you did, like.
Well, I did a children's album with John Lithgow. I did one of the songs on his children's album. I think we did Inka Dinka Doo and then something else. And I've done. He did a book of poems about the election that I did one of the narrations of. And he sends me hand-drawn Christmas cards every year, and is just the nicest man who is a friend of mine, who stayed a friend of mine all these years. And he was wonderful to work with because his father was the head of a Shakespeare theater, and he knew how to be the captain of a ship, and he knew how to welcome people and get the most out of them. I really enjoyed that experience, and I really enjoyed him.
Thank you very much.
We're going to stand up. We're going to get all you guys in here. So you guys can crowd up here if you want. And then we're going to give a big round of applause.
All right, let's give it a shot. Here we go.
That way you can be seen. Everyone look this way. 3, 2, 1.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, let's give a big hand once again for Mr. Wayne